Okay, I don't know what the issue is. But anyway, as I said, this is Shoroka Square. This was the heart of the Jewish quarter. If our cameraman now can turn around and he'll show us one of the doors that are left here, okay, just before we go on the street, which is connected to Josef, you can see there are remnants of Jewish life here. And one of them, of course, is the mezuzah that you notice right now. Let's now introduce this wonderful person who has enriched our life greatly since he walked into our life, Mr. Josef Lewkowicz, who made Aliyah a few years ago to Israel, to Yerushalayim. So he's speaking to us from his apartment in Yerushalayim. Good afternoon, Rabbi Josef.
Hi, good afternoon. Shalom Yerushalayim.
Okay, so we're going to now head towards your home. So let's direct the cameraman here. This is a street, as you can see. Introduce the street to us. Bakasha, Josef.
So that is the sign of our street, and we were living there. That was our house. This is one side. We were living in the corner of Shoroka in Lewkova. Ulica Shoroka 36, 36, Ulica Lewkova numero 2, now number 2. And all our Lewkova Street goes in a U-turn. It passes various streets there. There are now hotels there. There is even a hotel with a mikveh and one of those side streets. And it comes out again to the main square, to the Ulica Shoroka. Well, this wall I explained is the back of the Remuz cemetery. Yeah, all that. And this is the other side, and our side is, as we see it going, turns out to the left, back to the, this is the gate from the backyard. I was visiting not long ago, a few years ago, with my son actually, and he left and I remained alone there, but I went into the police station and I introduced myself, showed them my passport, and I told them that is my name, Lewkowicz, and I would like to go and have a look how it looks today, because I remember it as a child. So the police called down the commandant. He came down, and again I introduced him, and I spoke to him, and I said, I would like to have a look how it looks from the back. Can you open the iron gate in the back? He said, with pleasure. So they came down, a few of them, and they asked me a few questions. I answered them. I said, that new house that you have there at the end, what is it? They said it's a little detention place when they have some suspects of something, that they keep them there overnight until they bring them to the judge. I said there was a big cellar with a big iron gate to open. So I said, yeah, it's still there. I said, can I open it? Yeah. So it reminds me my child's years. I used to go down there to pick up, we had there a barrel of pickles, there was borscht there, and different things, because there was no Frigidaires in those years. In the 30s, in the 20s, in the 30s, there was no Frigidaire. So we kept everything in the cellar. And everybody in the cellar, all the apartments have their chamber, their place. And so that was a reminiscence of the youth. So they opened that gate where those people pass by now. And I went in and looked at it, and it brought back memories. Unfortunately, the memories remained, but no one else remained. And that is what hurts a lot.
Josef, can you tell us the makeup of your family before the war?
Yes, so my father, my mother, my father's name was Simcha, my mother's name was Shendel. I had another three brothers. The one next to me was Meyer Wolf. The other one was Herschel, we called him. They used to call also sometimes the Hebrew name with it, Hersh Tzvi. When they called him up to this, they didn't call him up yet because he was a little boy. And the smallest one was called David Leib. He was called after my great grandfather that lived over 100 years. And I had the story written down in my book, how he passed away in Erev Pesach. And here, Erev Pesach, he told me, Yasale, you know, you have to be up very late tonight because we're going to make the Seder, and you have to ask the Kashiot, the Arba question, for a question. So, you know, I suggest, come with me to mikveh. So I went with him. I was suffering a lot because the water was very, very hot. But, you know, you get used to it. And then he gave me a massage with a bezel, you know. It was like a like a branch of leaves with a wooden dish with soap, and he stirred it up, and he gave me that massage, and it felt Gan Eden on this world. Well, it felt very well, very good. Then we came home, we had a Shabbat, and he said to me, you have to go and rest now because we'll be up very late. So I lay down a little bit, I rested, and said, I'm going to do the same thing, and he did the same thing. And I got up, and he was still sleeping. And he slept very, very long. So they went to wake him up, and there was nobody to wake up already. That was it. He passed away. And the funeral was still before Pesach, before night, the same day. Doctor came, examined, but he was already 100 I don't know exactly how many, because I remember counting 102, 103, 104. This I remember. But he was a very, very, very nice man. He used to take me. I was a great grandchild. He took me to a special place where they sell ice creams. And at the time, there was a novelty in Poland that was called today watermelon. And it was called arbuz at the time, arbuz. And they sold pieces in that place. So he used to buy me a piece of watermelon. And it was something very, very, very good. We didn't know what blessing to make over it. So anyways, yeah, he was a very, very nice man, very tall. And he told me, you know, Yosale, never in my life did I know what a dentist is. I never felt any tooth should be hurt me. And he showed me the little finger of not a nail, a fingernail ever hurted me in my life. Yeah, I was a very healthy man and a very pious man. And he had also a farm, and I used to go to his farm. It wasn't far away from Zalishitz. And in the farm, he had horses, and he had cows, and he had chicken, and he had dogs. And I used to play with all those things. And he used to take me also to the field. He showed me this is the carrots, and this is the beans, and this is the all kind of vegetables. I loved it. I went there for vacations from Krakow. When I was with my Sunday, I showed him actually the place, and I was trying to go to knocking doors and try to find out if there was his mayordoma, how would you say it? His housekeeper that took care of all the field and all. I tried to find, and I remember the name, and I tried to ask all the people. No one knew. Then they told me there's an old lady somewhere, she would know. I looked at the door, spoke to her, said, I don't know anything. Yeah,
okay.
so most of history, is now in many places forgotten. It's
Right.
nobody talks about it. The same thing happened in Plaszow when I was there.
Right.
I I saw boys playing around with those shoe rollers, whatever, on those.
Yeah.
Plaszow had those mountains up and hills. Unfortunately, that was the places where they used to line up people and shoot them, and we were taken there to undress them and so on. I asked those people if they know the kids playing. Do you know what it was here? Oh, no, no, it's a very nice place. We enjoy to play here. They don't
So
know.
we're here today, Josef, to bring back those memories in this place, so
Okay,
people remember where they are. So we're standing now on the corner of Chimney Street. I'm just going to explain what we're looking at.
right.
Straight at the end over here, you can see what's known as the High Shore. You'll see the two dots, two windows, round windows, and then a semicircle window. All of the buildings that pretty much you're seeing now in this area of Krakow are standing from the 16th century onwards. Remember, we're in a Jewish quarter which is known as Kazimierz, and that actually stems back from the 14th century. We have even roots a little earlier, but the Jews will start to settle this place, okay, from that time onwards. And they're going to build, as we said, from the 16th and the 17th century onwards, beautiful buildings that you're going to be seeing. And again, the building that's right at the end, beyond the Israeli flag that you can see flying, which is strange for those people who have not been to Poland and have not seen this. Okay, to see an Israeli flag which is flying outside the Eden Hotel, one of the first places, if you want, of Jewish renewal inside the Kazimierz after the war, certainly from the perspective of a Jewish hotel that was built here. Just so you should know as well, for those of you that are familiar with Schindler's List, will be familiar with this scene too. Because in the middle over here, actually right below the Israeli flag, you might notice there's a small little black thing. That's a manhole, where a man came out of the manhole, and Amon Gert from the story of Plaszow was running up the street with his officers, with his dogs, and the Jewish guy stood to attention to him while there were suitcases all over the floor here. It was filmed here, it didn't happen here. But I want to take us back now to Josef's story. So I'm going to ask you, Josef, okay, as we walk along your street, Lewkowicz, we're going to carry along the street. As we walk along your street, can you remember, tell me something of your mother, okay, in the house, if you have some memories of your mother. Okay, tell us some memories.
I don't remember my mother's face. Can't remember. I never had a picture for the last 80-some years. I never had a picture. I was also away from home for a while when I was brought into my grandparents to Krakow. And when my family moved in back to Krakow, there was a very short life in there until the World War II broke out. So I remember my mother. I remember a silhouette, a person. She was very beautiful, that's what I know. And my father was people used to tell me, my father was very lucky to get her because she was very popular and everybody wanted her. My father even, when he had to go to the army, that was compulsory in Poland. But he wouldn't go to the army before he made sure that he got her, that they got engaged to her. And I remember a lot of good things that she used to make. So ad hayom, till this very day, I am after those things. She used to make a Moonkiefen, a poppy seed cakes. It was delicious. I'm looking everywhere to find something similar to it. I found poppy seed cake, but nothing could compare to it. It was delicious. Other things like the yapzok and the chuln, all those things that I remember a lot of things from my home, and a lot of things were forgotten because all over those many years I went through many cultures, many different dishes, many different languages, many different customs. So the memory is not that's wrong to be able to hold all the things. You register the new things, and the old thing you don't have any. We were taken naked to the concentration camp. Everything we had with us was left there. We had nothing, absolutely nothing. When we came into the camps, when we went out from the camps, it's just nothing, just a striped uniform. And the first things that I did is to throw it up and step on it and spit on it. So much I hated it. And now I regret I should have kept it to like a zeichel lechom, a remembrance of the Holocaust. But anyways,
So as we look over here, we can see the sign of your street. Okay, again, the sign, as you can see, if you can just zoom in a bit closer to the sign, so we can see the sign of
from
your
both sides, from both sides,
from both sides. So the whole street was basically Lewkowicz, named after your family.
Yeah.
So we have at least
focused on it. You don't show it. You don't.
Okay,
yeah,
it's going to refocus on the sign. If you can, the other one, the Lewkowicz.
Yeah, this is Sharoka. This is the main square, and that's what it is. So yeah, this is from one side.
That sign. At least we have that.
Yeah.
Still standing of the name of your family. Now, again, you lived on that street, as we said. And if we now turn towards the Alter Shul, okay, which is a shul that's built in the 14th century that we have over here, this is a place where your uncle used to come, if I'm not mistaken. So you want to tell us your memories now about this shul?
Okay. I used to daven when I was a child with my father in the Popper Shul that we showed before.
We'll see it again afterwards.
Oh yeah, we'll show it again. So I used to walk, that was just a few meters from one to the other. So I used to walk into that shul, to the old shul, Alter Shul that you see now. My uncle Leibish, my mother's brother, was davening there. He was a very educated man. He used to give shiurim, lectures of the Talmud and of the Tanakh. Yeah, he was a very, very cultural man. And he was also a manufacturer, a very successful manufacturer at that time, quite wealthy, a shoe manufacturer. And when I was a child, I used to play in the place where he had the factory. There was a lot of stocks of leather. And I used to invite my friends, and we used to hide there, playing hide and seek, So we played with whatever we could. We were hiding among those big stocks of leather. So my uncle was davening there. He was praying in this place. So when I came out from the Bobbevo stable that was just a little bit away to the other side, so I went into him to say good Shabbos. And meanwhile, he had a candy or whatever to give me. And he asked me a few questions, and that was it. And I went back to the shtibel. I went into my father's, to the Popper Shul, to see if they were finished. And if they were not finished, I would sit with my father on the bench. He had a place for me. And
okay. So tell me, did you ever see, I mean, the Alter Shul was the main shul in Shiroka, and it was also the main shul in Kazimierz. It's the most important shul. Do you remember ever seeing any dignitaries coming to the synagogue? Any famous people?
There were so many synagogues around there. Take the Shiroka street itself. There was, every building has a shtibel of another Rebbe. Like I mentioned, the Chortgever Stiebel, the Radomska Stiebel, the Belzer Stiebel, the Bovever Stiebel, the Gerer Stiebel, also other Rabbonim that I cannot remember. Yeah, there was one big sign on one building that there was a branch, Yeshivas Chochmeh Lublin, a branch of the yeshiva from Lublin. Every building, every house had something.
So we see that now as we carry along the square. Let's keep going around the square. You can point out things now.
A cheder, a mikveh at the end of the street. There was the mikveh. Now it's an open place. We went through there. It doesn't exist. Now all those places that I mentioned, whether it was a yeshiva or a shtibel or a cheder, you know what they have now? Restaurants.
Right. So we're going to see that now. Let me just
do
mention.
you know what those restaurants have? They have Jewish menus, gefilte fish, chulent, kishke, all kind of I read those. That was left. The Jews were gone, but the menus are being used by those places where it used to be mekoimis kedoshim, like the but the medgoshim. It's all restaurants now.
So let's have a look at this one, because this is one of those restaurants that you were speaking about. We just passed a second ago on the corner by the Alter Shul. We passed the Megaleh Amukot's famous house and his shul, the famous Kabbalist of Krakow. And we passed the Esther Hotel, and now we're at the Ariel. Those of us that can see, okay, through the gate, there's a set of stairs leading to the second floor. Notice now the Ariel, the second floor. What was on the second floor? Stop where you are, Lewkowicz. Okay, what was on the second floor?
So on the second floor, there was the Baba Shtibel. I became a chosid, the first one in my family, with payas and with a silk kapote, a seidene beckische, and I was very proud to wear it. I felt very, very spiritually elevated to wear it, and I used to daven that shtibel over there on the second floor. And on the first floor, there was a cheese factory, and the smell was terrible. But we forgot about the smell. But we were dancing there. We were davening. We were singing. Bobov was very known as Baal Menagim, good singers. Actually, that was one of the attraction that attracted me to Bobov through singing, because
Can you remember any of the tunes?
Was that?
Do you remember the tunes?
Still remember some of them. I learned so much in my life, so many different ones, that the old ones is a pity. The old ones was very good and very nice, but you know, you get used to the new ones. I was in so many countries, and every country had their own, you know, but I still remember. When I go Shabbos, when I'm invited by different friends, so they always ask me if I remember some. So I remember some, yeah.
So if you remember, we've stood in Krakow together many times with groups.
Yeah.
And we sang one of those tunes together. So let's try and sing that tune together now, okay? It was a wedding tune of Bobov, okay? We'll sing a little bit of it now.
You want to sing it now?
Yeah.
This, and there was so many others. I still remember when I used to daven many years as a Bal Tefillah, like a chazan we call it, but it's not far from chazonis, you know. I was I was always honored to lead the congregation with davening, so I used Baba Venigunim.
Very nice. So you were attracted to Bobov because of the music?
The music attracted me. How did I get to, when I was learning Talmud Torah, I had a friend called Wagner, David Wagner. So my family used to invite him. I was a very close friend with him. So my family used to invite him many times for Shabbat, Friday night, to the Suda. And they reciprocate, you know,
replicate,
yeah.
Yeah. Oh, okay, fine.
So I used to come to their house, and I heard these songs, like Yom Ze Mechubad, and different songs that I was very impressed with them. They were very touchy, very, very, very nice.
Okay, so you went to a Bobov cheder as well?
No,
School? No, you went to a
no,
different
no.
high
I
school.
went. That was like a general, the Talmud Torah.
Okay, we'll try and get there. Let's see if we can get there. But let's carry on Shoroka Street now, passing again some more restaurants like the ones you spoke about. Okay, the Jewish restaurant, etc. The Rubenstein house. But
So
we can
up
see
there,
that
there was the stable. There was a lot of things were happening there. Rosh Chodesh was a big yontif.
on the,
Big,
when you used to have the new moon. You would celebrate the new moon. Wow, wow. But here's the Popper. Here's the Popper show. Keep going, Ukraine.
Rosh Chodesh was a big celebration. Tables were served with all kind. There was a little bulkalach everywhere with whatever served, fish. What I don't remember exactly. And I remember only one thing. We used to sing a lot, and we used to dance all around in circles. Rosh Chodesh was a big, big thing. Was celebrated. Not like today. Today it's also celebrated, but in a different way.
It's quicker. So let me ask you a question now. We're standing in front of the Popper Shul. It was built in 1620, okay, by a private family, and that's why it's named after them, Wolf Popper, and it became your shul. Okay, this was where your father used to daven. This was the synagogue itself. Today is a bookstore. As you know, you've been into the bookstore itself. Tell us a little bit about the memory of what it meant to pray in this shul.
Okay. To me, the shul was very big. There were a lot of seats there. And the memory, I remember the rabbi, I forgot already his name, but I remember the Mishamesh, the Shamish. He was very impressive. He was a very big man, tall man, and he had a voice that carried very, very far, very strong voice. And he knew everybody, and he used to greet everybody. And people, the kids were waiting for a candy from him. Not everybody was zoiche. Lav kol udem zoiche. It was not everybody that could get a candy from him. But if somebody behaved nice and he liked him, the man was very, very impressive. I loved him. I liked him because the way he was praying and the way he was running that whole shul was a very pious man, and he also used to teach, give lectures. I remember him very, very, very fondly. The rabbi, I remember him vaguely because I had another rabbi, I had the Bobov Rebbe, and there I already as a young boy twice to Bobov, which was a tremendous achievement. And I went with the Wagner family. The father, Mr. Wagner, he took me to Bobov. I was allowed. It was a lot of stadlunas from me with my family that they should let me go, and they let me go, and they prepared a lot of food, very delicious food to take there. I didn't see it. I brought it to Bobov, and there was a big room where there were people, maybe 15, 20 people in that large room with beds. I put down my food, and the people asked me, "Can I taste it?" Yeah, taste it. And I didn't see it. I didn't taste it.
Right.
But yeah, it was very, very impressive. So that shul, the Popper shul, was a very popular shul there. But we just turning around the Shoroka to the Miodova, there was the Kupper shul. The Kupper shul was very famous by having famous chazanim, famous. So we always, for slichas, for special events, we always went there. My father took me there. My family, uncles and zaydes, everybody was there to listen to the chazonim. And I remember once that I asked, that chazan was a famous name. I can't remember the name. They brought him from somewhere. a famous name, Adayom, but if I heard the name, I can remember. But so he used to sing in a way, something's very, very different of others. So I said, what type of singing is it? So my father said, this is Kopfstimme. Kopfstimme. Did you hear about it?
No, what's that?
Kopfstimme. Yeah, people know about it. Kopfstimme. Very something. You know. As a children, we enjoyed a lot, and we're very, very deep involved in that Jewish life. This area where we were living, that was the heart of the Jewish Krakow.
So now we're another very special place in Krakow. Okay, this was built in 1553. Okay, as you can see, it says Bet Knesset Hadash is the new shul, because the old one was the altar shul where we were, and the Bet Knesset Hadash of the Ramah, okay, of Moshe Isilis. So this was the most important building that was standing in Krakow, and still is, Baruch Hashem, standing there. All the shuls, by the way, are standing in the area of Kazimierz, and that's basically because of the fact that the man who was running the area under the Nazis, the man called Hans Frank, wanted the city still to look like a beautiful city, and it didn't want to be destroyed. And by the way, Krakowians also,
since I passed through that shul so many to the remote shul, from wherever I came, from school, or where I made errands for my parents, I always passed by there. Many times when there was like mincha time, mostly, so I used to go in there, and I used to daven mincha with them. And I always wanted to go. I went to that specific place, and the right-hand side near the Or HaKodesh, near the art, and there was a step down, and I always felt to go down and at that step and stand there where the Ramah was standing. So I felt it's such a big zchus to stay there, such a big merit to stay there on the place where the Ramah was standing in davening. Yeah, but you know, it wasn't a big shul. It's a small shul, and all in the back there is the Beis HaChaim, and on that cemetery, the only giants were buried there. Only big, to mention, I mean, big Gedolei Hador were buried there. The Megala Mokes, Rabbi Rapeshel, Tosfos Yontef, so many big ones. And of course, the Ramah and his family is right at the back of the window from the shul. You didn't have to go out far. People from inside could pray. It still stand there. And there was a nice story about the Nazis needed iron for the war machine. I wrote a book about that, about the Jerozolimska cemetery that we took out. I had a miracle there. There's beside the point. But also here came the Nazi, and he took some Jews, and he said, take off the iron around the Ramah's, the defense from the Ramah. So they picked with picks. It was not easy to take off that iron. So that Nazi officer, there were 2 or 3 of them there, said, bring a torch. So they brought a torch, and he showed them, bend down, he showed them, do it here, there. So they torched that place, and a spark flew into his eye, and he started yelling, screaming, and he become blind and run away. So until this very day, that fence is standing there.
Right.
And all kind of things, a lot of things happen there.
The Ramah is very important to all of Judaism, and especially to Ashkenazi Judaism, okay, for his famous commentary called the Mapa, which of course is basically allowing us to understand concepts of halakha until this very day. I'm going to ask us to carry on because we have a little bit more time, and I want to try and get us to the Talmud Torah, okay, where we're passing now as we walk along the street here. and we're going to go out now to Miadova Street.
So this is about 500 years now.
Yeah, exactly. We're
About 500 since, yeah.
Yeah, so we're passing to the left.
Those houses are still standing. They were there then. And here we go out from the Sharoka to the Miodova.
So we're passing on the left-hand side now, as you can see the cemetery, which was...
Yeah, this is the wall of the Remuz cemetery. Exactly.
And now, if you keep going up, we'll notice one of the first, here's Chaim Cohen, all these bookstores, all these shops, my mistake, all these shops, which again are meant to be exactly as Josef was speaking about.
And that building stays there.
When he talked about the idea of different things that are taking place. Unfortunately, it's not open now, but can you just stop by the menu on the wall there, Lukasz? There should be a menu on the wall here, and the menu, we'll be able to see, if we can see it closely, we'll have on there. Here we go. I'm not sure whether we'll be able to see it. Excellent. Okay. So if you can see the menu, it says Jewish, it says gefilte fish, as you can see, hummus, okay, Jewish caviar, which of course is chopped liver.
Gefilte fish.
Which again, they're not kosher, but they want people to think about the types of food that the Jews were eating in Krakow at the time. We're going out to a street which was just mentioned a second ago by Josef, as he talked about the Kupa shul. It stood on the Miadova street, as did the last shul that was built in Krakow, known as the Temple. And we're going to take a left on Miadova and walk along this street over here. Now, Josef, you had lots of cousins as well, didn't you, in Krakow?
They were living in all those windows that you see, those buildings. We used to wave to them. They were looking out through the window. We used to wave. We used to talk to them from downstairs, upstairs. There were a lot of them, cousins and uncles and all kind of relatives that I forgot.
Try and explain for us now what it was like on Shabbat on these streets here.
And Shabbat, there were no cars at the time. There used to be horses and buggies. There was not a single one. But you know what? You could see a Jew with a Seidene Beckische, with a Streimel, taking the horse somewhere to the river to drink. Yeah, you saw those things. Those are the pictures of today. Or you saw a group of people standing and discussing, whether they're discussing current events, what happened during the week, or they would somebody that passed away. They would talk about that, all kind of whatever happened. Advar Torah, the other groups that knew a bit more about learning, they would talk about Advar Torah. They would explain. There were the kuchim. There were no, it's not like this, but it's like this. You know, it was lively.
And you used to go to a spazier with your parents.
To what?
You would go for a spazier with your.
Oh yeah, sure. So
nice walk on Shabbat, and you would meet your friends.
Shabbat, we used to go to the planten of Dietla. That was the whole Jewish community were walking. Everybody met everyone. People were meeting. They didn't see the whole week, or some for months, meeting and getting updated about the news, what happened, the family, and so on. That was the place where we were walking. So this is the Kupa shul inside.
Exactly. Beautiful.
The Kupa shul. That was also a very popular shul. There were so many shuls in the area. Wherever you turn, you have another shul. The Hoife shul, the Alte shul. There was all kind of shuls. Rabbi Yitzchak Azekekale shul. There were all stories about those things. There was in the middle of the Sharoka, there was this thing in wedding that in our times they had big walls around that sinking where now it's just a fence. We didn't see it when we were there, but there's now a small fence. The Nazis destroyed it. It was standing for hundreds of years there. Yeah,
we're carrying on now along Miadova Street, and we're going to turn up the street which I mean, now just so that I can just point out, on the right-hand side of our picture, you're seeing the temple, okay, which is the building which is beyond the JCC that you can see today.
Yeah, the temple in the right-hand side at the end, but we turn to the left as the Estera.
We're going to go left to the JCC. We're just passing on our right, and now the temple.
If we can for a minute,
okay.
Lewkowicz, if he can.
Sorry.
If Lewkowicz can go for a minute to the yard of the temple, I'll show him something there. There's a little plane with the name Rapkazdrui. There where I was located, and there where I brought all the children that we saved from the in that yard.
We'll be able to go in, Josef, because of Corona. Unfortunately, all these buildings today are closed. But we
can look through that. Yeah. Can you see that plane? There's an airplane there.
Yeah.
That backyard. The airplane is written Rapkazdrui, and I wondered how come that name is written there. That was this place where we brought all the children, like 600 children that we saved from all different Gentile homes and institutions and monasteries and churches. With all anyway.
Let me just Josef, 1 second. Okay, Lewkowicz, go towards the school. I'm just going to fill people in so they understand. After the war, Josef did a number of things, and one of the things that Josef managed to do was to save Jewish children. This is not the story for today. Please watch The Survivor's Revenge, and you'll be able to know his whole story. But one of the places where he took the children was to a place called Rabka, and there's a plaque inside the JCC on the airplane there that's connected. But we're going to finish off here on this street, because we're now heading towards the place where your Talmud Torah was, straight along the street towards the market. Okay, this is Esteri, and your
Estera.
School,
your
school.
There's a legend about the name Estera, but I'm not going into it.
Your school is along here, so let's keep going towards the marketplace. Look at, and if you can talk about
number three, Estera. If you show me that the corner, the right-hand side, number 3, Estera, on the 3rd floor. There was my Bobby living there, and I was living there for a while until my parents came.
So I'm not sure what number we're looking at now. We're going to see whether we can get to that number and then see the 3rd floor just to see your Bobby where she was living. But otherwise, we're going to continue to the towards the Talmud Torah. What number is this, Lewkowicz?
The Talmud Torah is just across the street in the corner to the left.
Okay, the new white building that we see. Okay, so let's have a look at the white building on the left-hand side now.
Number 3.
Here we go. This is number 3.
Up.
We take us up to the 3rd floor.
Yes,
okay.
The 3rd floor.
Let's go to the 3rd floor. Lewkowicz, if you can just show us the 3rd floor, please. Okay, we can see the 3rd floor. If you just go up to the 3rd floor with the windows, and we'll be able to notice where your Bobby lived.
Oh, that's the building. That's the building. That is the building. The 3rd floor.
Okay. So you can see now where your Bobby lived.
Big win. Now, I had a miracle there. Once I bent down and I almost fell down. Bending down all the window. I was a little boy at the time. And hardly I could return. I was almost falling down. If I fell down from that place, I'm finished. So wow. that was considered by me. I said I had a miracle. Nobody knew about it. I didn't talk to nobody about it because I would be very. They wouldn't be nice to me. So I didn't. Sorry, but I had a miracle there. I bent down. I was like 3/4 out. And fine. So there I lived for quite maybe a year and a half in that place.
And let's turn around now to the school.
Turn to the left side.
In school. Here. Okay, turn around to the building. 2nd floor, correct? Was the school? Am I right?
No. You have to go further. You have to go to the corner. So the
platform on the corner there between keep going towards the corner
till the end.
And we get to where the market once
That's
was
the
as well. There's
corner.
the market here, and this was the school. Okay, tell us about the school.
So that was the Talmud Torah, and it goes all along the street to the left, and there were thousands of students at least there in different grades, and we learn everything there. We learn not for long, but we learned arithmetic, we learned geography, we learned many things, and we learned mostly Jewish, Chumash, Rashi, davening, a little bit of Talmud that I could remember. We started to, as we learn now, also Psochim, the tractate of Passover. So I remember still as a child, Arbe Psochim Somach Lemincha Lo Yochal Odom, that the person shouldn't eat before the evening in order to get in to the Seder with a great appetite for the matzah. Yeah, so that was one of my Rebbe was Eliokim. I don't remember anymore, and the other was. Yeah, the other was anyway. Just slipped my mind. There's this moment when I need it. When I will a minute later, I'll remember. Yeah.
So I want just I'm going to end off by saying this to you, Josef, because we're running out of time, and I want you to number one, this is the end of a weekend full of activities that we've done for Asara B'Tevet, which we started already on Thursday night and ending today, connected to, of course, Yom HaKadosh HaKlali, a day that we commemorated on Friday, the fast day of Tevet, which is connected to all those people who perished in the Holocaust. You know, I need to say, number one, what you've done for us today is Chadesh Yameinu Kekedim. You brought back what it once was to live and walk in these streets over here, and the memories of it, and the memories as well of your family. And I'm sure you've got lots more to be able to tell us. By the way,
see that building there? It's a very building. It goes all along the street. If Lewkowicz could go along the street, he will see that extend and there were a lot of people, a lot of students there, big building. And to the right-hand side, you have the Platz Novi, where there were all these things for Shabbat, fish and chicken and shochtim and fruits and vegetables. The Platz Novi, the round square thing. It was home at once. It was home. It brings memories. Whenever I go there, I have so many memories. When you need them, you know, when you have to talk about them, it's they don't always come to your mind. But there's a lot. It was all Jewish, every step. Unfortunately, when Nazis came, all those cobblestones were full of Jewish blood.
Yeah. So once again, I'm gonna say to you, you know, we have to remember the good times, the life that there was, and as well as, unfortunately, the tragedy that took place. And this Talmud Torah that we can see quite clearly now how big it was, and how many of your friends and the pupils of the Talmud Torah unfortunately died in the Shoah. Absolutely, from a perspective of what we've lost, it's a very big thing for Jewish people.
Not even one that I had survived. I had this Wagner Bobova. I asked the Bobova Rebbe after the war, any one of those Wagners? None. Nope. None. I was left like alone in the world. I didn't see anyone that I ever met or knew. It was not easy.
Right.
Surviving.
So I want to again, Josef. We're going to have to finish that. So I want to thank you really for bringing us back to your hometown. Okay, bringing life back to these streets as we walk past the Kuppah and the High Shul, which is off to our right hand side as well. So I want to thank you very, very much. Number one is that we wish you that HaKadosh Baruch Hu should give you the strength to continue doing what you've done for so many people on different J-Roots journeys and different organizations that have managed to hear you over the years. It's been a real pleasure.
5 times last year I was in Poland with group.
There we go.
Hundreds, maybe thousands altogether. It was before that Corona, and it did a lot of good. You know how much and how many were inspired and changed their life. They even made a song that how much their life was changed, and it was very important. And I was very, very encouraged by it because I saw that the people don't know, and if you don't tell them, they will never know, and they will not know what to tell their children either. So memory will be totally erased. So it was very, very important. Hopefully one day the world will come back to be a normal world, and we could still inspire a lot of people and bring them back to Yiddishkeit. That is my big hope. And as long as the Rabbeinu Shalom, God will give me strength, I'll use it to try to inspire Jewish youngsters. They need it terribly. They long about it. They know that they're missing something. They have all the material things. They have everything. Nothing is missing, but they miss something. They don't know what they miss. And we tell them that what you're missing is spirituality. You have to believe in God. I had a lot of them. I don't believe in God. I don't believe. How could you make me believe in God? I said, you know what? You see me, I see you. I speak to you. You speak to me. That's God. Without God, we wouldn't be able to do that. Anyway, and we went to a lot of discussions, and it feels very, very, very impressive and a very Baruch Hashem. As long as I can do it, I'll do it.
So I want to thank you on behalf of me, J-Roots, that we've managed to bring you back here, and again for everything you've done for the organization. It's been a bracha every single time that we get to speak to you. We wish you that you should stay safe. The Kodesh Baruch Hu should give you the chisun, the injection, very soon, okay, and that you'll be able to once again be able to inspire in person many, many more thousands of people. So I want to thank everybody for watching this evening. I want to thank Lewkowicz as well for going through the streets of Poland, and we wish him congratulations on the oncoming baby that, God willing, he'll have next week or the week after. And thank you very much to everybody.
Last word. I want just to thank J-Roots because I am very much aware of what they are doing. They're a tremendous organization, and they deserve a lot of help. Whoever can help them is a very good thing because they do a tremendous work. I've seen he's hardly home. How many times were you on trips last year? 50, 40 times?
Better nobody knows.
Every week, every second week?
Something like that.
Yeah, so you have to thank your family that deserves a lot of credit that they let you do all those things, missing you. But on the other hand, when you come home, you have a tremendous reception.
Thank you. Okay, so thank you very much to everybody, and we're going to close the session now. Anyone that would love to be able to see this can watch it again as a recording on YouTube. And again, Josef's film is out and his book is out. Okay, you can get it all from J-Roots. Please write to us on info@jroots.org. And thank you very much. And again, I hope that this has been a great afternoon for you, as it has for us. Thank you, Josef. Goodbye.